Thank you very much, Riv. We want to welcome Cruiser and Crumbs to the desk. Guys, congrats on the win right here. So, first of all, crazy game. How do you play a game like that where it keeps going back and forth? You have all these constant fights.
Wow, well, that game got off to a wild start right from the get-go. First off, you know, they picked champions that we really expected them to play, but the champions are just so strong. Like, Yasuo top is really powerful pick, especially once you take out Renekton. When we see the Renekton ban, we're thinking they're going for a Yasuo comp. We're going to have a little bit of trouble with dealing with that, because then they went with the Orianna Wombo combo.
Yeah.
And then it just started getting action-packed from mid lane. Lots of ganks, countering ganks, failed cocoons, just all over the place. And then I tried to actually get a lot of ganks off, trying to see what I could do on top lane, but it just got drawn out with plenty of ward coverage, so I could never go. And then once the mid game started rolling around, two heavy team fighting comps. You got a Sivir Karthus team with Yasuo Orianna. So, I mean, we just constantly fought over and over, and we ended up winning.
So, Cruiser, then we're going to start with the laning phase then. You had to fight the Yasuo top lane.
Yeah.
Wow. One, how is Shyvana Yasuo? And two, do you think you played it right?
Shyvana Yasuo, early game especially, Yasuo has a pretty big advantage because Shyvana can't really ever stick to him and keep the burnout running because he can just E to another creep. And he's got pretty good poke. And he actually has extra melee range. So he's even harder to trade in that regard. So you pretty much just play back and just get the CS when you can.
And then, so you said, you know, I guess Crumbs said there were a lot of wards and you couldn't get any ganks in. So how did you kind of survive this sort of rough matchup? I
was pretty much just farming with E when I could, and then just last sitting under turret.
And it seemed to work out a lot better for you in team fights, though. When you got to the late game battles, you also seemed to die really fast, even with the Guardian Angel. You survived the entire time.
Yeah.
Is that just how the skilling is going to work, or did you guys play around Yasuo really well?
I think we played okay around Yasuo. We got hit by wombos a little too much, but I think we played it pretty well. We peeled back for Yasuo pretty effectively, I would say.
Cool. Well, of course, good job on that one. Crumbs, I want to get back to you. So we talked to you in the morning about shot calling, and I know we talked about it being really hard to shot call from behind. And you, of course, had a couple of things go awry early game. How did you claw your way back in?
Well, we got our way back in when we saw that Pantheon ganked middle lane, and then he was completely out of mana. So he stuck around too long, and when your jungler sticks around for too long and you just kill the opposing jungler or some other person, if you stick around too long, that means that by the time they spawn back in that early game, we can take a dragon. So started taking some free dragons for basically no cost since it wasn't contested at all. So doing that started getting us back into it without the early deficit through the ganks, especially when he dropped on blue buff at me and then I died to Morgana. That's the point where it happened because he used a lot of mana in that. And just getting fights around that, and then I went for a gank on top lane way down the line, and then one with Sivir bottom lane because we pushed down the turret, the first outer turret because it was very low, and then we just wait back till they show up, and since you have Sivir now, you can run them down the entire lane, and you have a lot more room to actually catch them, and since it's Caitlyn, she only has one net to get out, and I think that clawed our way back into it. And then once mid-game roll around, something that happened the game against TSM yesterday was that we got a pick off, and then we were indecisive with the decision. We went down to fight the mid lane, and looking back on it, we thought, you know what, we probably should have played Baron. And then I'm very confident in my smiting ability, so I agree that would have been the better call. And when the game happened today, we were 5v5, then we were close. I was just like, you know what, Baron, I don't think I'm going to get outsmited. I haven't been outsmited in LCS for a long time. So we just went for it and then got that first Baron. And off that, I think we took 3 turrets and started taking the lead back. But we still managed to give it back a couple of times.
Yeah, sure. So, of course, Baron was a really big story this game overall. You guys fought around it a lot. And Baron fights are always super hectic. Now, Cruiser, as a melee champion, and Shyvana, who kind of only has one gap closer, how do you go from, I'm a face-tanking Baron, I'm on the very wrong side of the fight, to they're coming in? How do you choose, do I engage them? Do I stick on Baron tank for the team?
It's usually Crumbs' call. He'll call to pill off, and then I'll just immediately go on whoever I can. But you usually have to get kind of close to hit as many people as you can with your Dragon's Ascent and Burnout combination.
Well, you seem to make it work. So we have a couple of replays for you guys. First one up is a Baron fight you guys actually lost. When that didn't go so well, it gave EG a bit of an edge. If we can get that on your screen, I want you guys to walk us through what happened in this fight.
So we're waiting for Baron to spawn right now. It spawns, and we know it's warded, so we just want to rush it down since we saw the mid lane. We see them come in, the hook lands, and then we immediately want to pill. The Sivir ulti comes out. I got knocked out by that, and then we pile up, check out this pile, then 4-man Orianna ulti, and then we get Yasuo just comboed, and we pretty much die almost instantly. We're trying to go into this fight, and then I do a repel, and then I should have just stuck down because Cutie Pie can't really dodge many dark bindings. So we managed to. He died in that, and then I die as well too with Caitlyn, and that's how we lost. We just got Orion and TSU. Their comp worked to its most effective point at that fight.
What would you have done differently to win that fight instead?
I just needed to tank that, stay down, and
I'll
tank the binding for Cutie. Yeah, that would have actually been the right thing.
Just face tank it all. All right. Well, then, of course, we have another replay, though, of after that battle happened, Cruiser, you end up 1v3ing against, like, 3 surviving members of EG, and it works out really well. If we can get that on your screen, just walk me through, like, how do you do this when you're like, oh, I got to stop him at Baron?
I knew that they were all, like, really low. I didn't buy a ward because that was a big mistake by me. I didn't quite have my random ones either. So I saw right here, I saw Yellow Pete tanking the Baron, so I decided to go on him, and he does the most damage, especially with Ori being was able to clean that up, and Kiwi's calling for me to go to the right, so I just run to the Thresh Lantern, and that just barely misses me.
Oh, that's good. So you had not only target prioritization of, okay, I'll hit the AD carry, but also your teammate comes in saying, if you want to get out, come this way, go down a little bit. So that worked out really well for you guys. You ended up winning that battle. Of course, very impressive game. You guys have had an up and down season, right? You keep streaking up, streaking down. Are you guys on the way up again finally, or are you giving the false hope?
I hope we're on the way up.
I feel like this game is like clawing back. Like it's just this dirty way, like through mud, just trying to get back into some sort of form. That's how I feel like this game went now. It's because you made it there, but you didn't make it there cleanly.
You didn't make it cleanly. Would you be okay with like playing a full season of games like this the whole way through?
If we win them all, yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
The heart attacks would be worth it. You'd survive it all.
Yeah, well, I'd be a very exciting team to watch.
Yeah, it's true. Just a bunch of battles all the time. So then talk to me about some more picks we've been seeing that are a bit more rare. So Morgana coming back in now to North America. We've seen that from in Europe a little bit more. How was fighting against Morgana for you guys?
I think it's pretty frustrating as a top laner because you usually do only have the one gap closer, and then she can just ulti you and you're slowed down, and then you get bound, and then you just kind of sit there and do nothing for a long time. So from my perspective, it's pretty annoying.
Crumbs, you anything?
I think she's a great support, actually, because you see her a lot being picked against Thresh just because all of Thresh's abilities get disjointed by her Black Shield. You know, you can just walk through box, you can ignore hook, ignore flay, and she makes a great gank setups, especially in 2v2 situations where you can use your ultimate and get 2 people. And the only downside is that if you can actually just burst her shield down, remember that shield absorbs just magic damage, right? So if you just pile enough magic damage on it, you can pop it and already CC her down. So if you're a champion like Elise, if you're coming in for a gank against a Morgana, you're not going to do it like a regular gank in which you start off with your cocoon, right? You're going to just try to wait it out, use your spells, try to break the shield down first, then go for it. So it changes your playstyle a lot, especially when you're so reliant on CCs. Like if you're playing a physical damage jungler like Kha'Zix, it doesn't matter to you. You're just going to jump in and kill her instantly because you're physical damage. So it just depends on the champions that are being played right now. So if you see other types of picks being chosen, like say support Lee Sin, things like that, Morgana would drop out of flavor. But with Thresh, Annie, Leona being the priority supports right now, she's going to be a very strong pick.
All right, guys. So last question for you here. Coming into Super Week, you got 4 games coming up next week. How's it going to go for you guys?
4-0.
4-0?
4-0. 4-0.
4-0, just easy. Don't even care who you're against.
No.
Just going to make it happen. All right, guys.
Don't even care who we're against.
Don't even care. Faceless, just dead enemies everywhere. Guys, congratulations on your win. We look forward to your 4-0 Super Week. We have more going on. We're going to throw it across the studio to Riv and Jat to take it.